Hello. I'm here on the behalf of Oda Projesi from Istanbul, the artist collective that I'm part of, with Özge Açıkkol and Güneş Savaş. Since we received the invitation to come and talk about a project of Oda Projesi, I keep up changing the way to tell the possible story. So I thought, like, shall I tell it linear or backwards or from the middle or maybe just the end? I was never sure of it. So I was all the time also thinking about what to do with the memory once it's created. It's good while you are in it, while you are creating it. But when the act once turns to a memory or a form, so-called a project, so then what happens? If you are a group of artists that did not come together to be a collective on purpose and produce projects, if all that happened on the way, then how to go back and tell it to the other? If we think that the overall projects Oda Projesi has been doing since 2000, the first 5 years of the presence in the neighborhood of Galata Şahkulu Street shaped up the collective and the project with plus 3 years beforehand. So I thought I should better tell the 8 years, but I thought then how come it's possible 8 minutes in 8 years? So I thought that will be difficult. And then I thought I would rather choose a project that somehow links back to the neighborhood and to the whole memory. A project that showed the relation of the three-legged projects that came out through us, the neighbors, and the invited. Oda Projesi made itself possible in the city of Istanbul, the city of love and dreams, as the municipality puts on the banner as promotion. Or maybe we can say hate and nightmares as well. Daily Istanbul is the inspiration point of Oda Projesi. As most of the Istanbulians do, the struggle to survive, to have the power of the space they live in, and also to keep the track of family roots, culture, relationships, and also adapt it to the city. So the most common question we ask also to ourselves is, what does it mean to be an artist in such a city as Istanbul? So, coming to the project that I would like to share with you is called From Place to Space, presented at the Collective Creativity exhibition curated by WHW in Kunsthalle Friedrichshain in 2005. The project, or I should say the result, the presentation, or maybe the representation, was visible there. So when you enter to the exhibition space, you see the big sign, "Welcome to the contest." So you know that there was an architectural contest done in a neighborhood, and you are facing the documentation of it. We wrote a brief by copying an already existing very formal architectural brief, but writing it through our own narrative, through what we have experienced in the neighborhood. So once you read the brief, you already have an understanding of a quarter located at Şahkulu Italian courtyard in the region of Galata. So we wrote the program on creating a new quarter plan. We asked the architects to reflect on the already existing life in the neighborhood. And the thing is that the jury would be the neighbors living in the neighborhood, and this was kind of the difficult part for the architects. So the places that are going to be created will be arranged for some kind of different target groups who settled either in the region after 70s or the ones that are newcomers or those who are just maybe passing by the street. So when the time came for the participants to present their proposals, we were all at the courtyard. All the 6 architects were expected to come with models, with drawings and photographs and plans. The jury were the neighbors, and they are the people that are expected to leave the city center and empty it for gentrification and for urban regeneration projects. All the architects presented their plans, models, drawings, but the result was a surprise for us. The winner architect made a speech only. The speech about how the neighbors have the power to change everything in the street and that they are already doing it. An architect can be there if any help is needed. So, to quote from Tolga, the winner, Tolga Adaner, the winner architect, he said that Oda Projesi made a call for collectivity between the user and the architect by the mediation of Italian courtyard. Just for all of these told, what architects should do might be to look for ways to make the space and everydayness of the space speak for itself, rather than to look for an answer over architecture, to make all the other answers possible. Who knows? Not to propose anything might be a clean access to answer to how creative collectivity can be possible. And the jury thought this should be the winner. And if I go back to the Oda Projesi Galata period, which somehow shaped up the whole process, it was the project made itself on its way with the neighbors' presence and with the people invited to the space. So the Galata period was more the forming of theory, which was totally dependent upon practice. The existence was a resistance for 8 years in the same neighborhood, imagining or dreaming of in-between situations, roles, positions. The placement was in between life of the daily production and also the life of art production. So to make it a bit shorter, I would say the period of Oda Projesi started from the end of 90s. We believe at the time that Istanbul was not really fully planned by planners, architects, historians, but mostly planned by the inhabitants of the city, where private lives overflow with the public space. But nowadays we feel and see more the big ideas, big plans, big money, big fantasies over the city and become visible in every turn. Now you see the rich, the poor, the art people, the economy, the architect, the politics, and the struggle. So much has been categorized and fragmented. But Istanbul, I believe, still somehow deals with this and forces itself to make the boundaries blurry by having experienced and still experiencing Peras, Poros. So I think there is still a chance for the third space. Thank you.